Good evening and welcome to a brief edition of the news. Russia's defense ministry said 2 Russian warplanes, warships and a submarine in the Mediterranean fired missiles on Daesh targets in Syria. The ministry said it had informed the Israeli and Turkish army commands ahead of launching the rockets. Elsewhere in Syria, clashes took place in a neighborhood west of the city of Raqqa, where US-backed Syrian militias are fighting Daesh. The Syrian Democratic Forces, which include Arab and Kurdish fighters and are supported with airstrikes by a US-led coalition, began an offensive 2 weeks ago to seize the northern city from the terror group. In Iraq, Iraqi forces battled their way along 2 streets that meet in the heart of Mosul's old city as they tried to open routes for civilians to flee Daesh's last stand there. US-trained urban warfare units are leading the fight in the maze of narrow alleyways of the old city, the last district in the hands of Daesh. Iraqi authorities are hoping to declare victory in Mosul during the Eid in the coming few days. Meantime, the destruction of Al-Nouri Mosque in Mosul brought more condemnation. The Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said the blowing up of the historical Grand Mosque and its leaning minaret by Daesh could amount to a war crime. The demolition took place on Wednesday night as Iraqi forces closed in on the mosque, which carried enormous symbolic importance for Daesh, as their leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi had declared a caliphate from there. The US-led coalition battling Daesh said it had no concrete evidence on whether the terrorist group's leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, is dead or alive. In a Pentagon briefing, coalition spokesman US Army Colonel Ryan Dillon played down any significance Baghdadi might have on the battlefields of Iraq and Syria. Earlier, Russia's Interfax news agency quoted Viktor Ozerov, the head of the Defense Committee in the Russian Upper House of Parliament, as saying the likelihood that Baghdadi had been killed is close to 100%. Violence also shook Pakistan, where bombs killed nearly 30 people. A suicide car bomber killed at least 13 in the southwestern city of Quetta, and 2 blasts later killed at least 15 in the northwestern town of Parachinar. 7 police officers were killed in the first attack in Quetta, which took place when police stopped the car to search it at a checkpoint. British Prime Minister Theresa May defended her proposals to guarantee the rights of EU citizens living in Britain, saying several leaders of the bloc had reacted positively and she wanted agreement as soon as possible. The night before, May outlined 5 principles to be discussed in Brexit negotiations, notably that no EU citizen resident in Britain at a cut-off date would be deported. There are roughly 3 million living there now. Under the plan, EU citizens who had lived in Britain for 5 years could stay for life. Others would be allowed to stay until they reach the 5-year threshold for settled status.
This is a fair and serious offer. It gives those 3 million EU citizens in the UK certainty about the future of their lives. And we want the same certainty for the more than 1 million UK citizens who are living in the European Union. On Monday, I will publish my proposals in full and look forward to reaching an agreement at the earliest possible date.
Police confirmed a fire that engulfed a London tower block, killing at least 79 people, started in a hotpoint fridge freezer. Police said the hotpoint model was not subject to recall, while both the insulation and tiles used in cladding at the tower block failed all post-fire safety checks. Police were considering manslaughter among the possible criminal offences that may have been committed. Researchers discovered that the rise in temperature and acidity of waters in the northwest of the French Mediterranean is faster and greater than anywhere else on the planet, threatening certain species with extinction. Researchers said they thought these findings could be taken as representative of a wider Mediterranean area that includes Spain, France, Corsica and Sardinia. The rise in temperatures and acidity have the same origin, researchers said, CO2 emitted by human activities. These rapid rises could also lead to the extinction of species such as Posidonia, oysters, coral, and mussels. Pushing a running electric lawnmower for 71 meters is not a difficult thing to do, but try doing it with a lawnmower balanced on your chin. New Yorker Ashrita Furman broke by more than 50 meters his existing Guinness World Record for the farthest distance walked, balancing a powered lawnmower on the chin. When he finally lowered the grass cutter to the pavement, Furman had traveled an impressive 71.53 meters, easily besting his previous and still existing record of 20 meters. Furman said he currently holds more than 200 Guinness records, including one for the most Guinness records. And finally, it will be slightly cool tonight with a low of 16 degrees Celsius in Amman and brisk to light to moderate winds. Tomorrow, temperatures will continue to rise with a high of 29 expected in Amman, while in the Gulf of Aqaba it will be hot with a high of 38 degrees Celsius, northerly moderate winds and calm seas. With this, we've come to the end of our news in brief. I'm Dana Abu Sham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.